Hey guys, Robin here from leadgenius.biz, the home of practical, simple, authentic advice that's easy to implement. Now, I'm going to just tell you a quick secret. This is the third time I'm recording this video, and each time it's run to 15 minutes. I want to get this done in like 5-6 minutes. So this is going to be a quick run through of the POPI Act. Now, what I've done when I discovered the need for the POPI Act is I went out there and I spoke to clever people, my attorney. I watched a bunch of videos. I read a bunch of stuff online, and this is my take on dumbing it down to something I could understand, and hopefully it's going to help you as an online seller understand what you need to do to comply with the POPI Act by the end of June. But I do want to mention I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. This is just a translation, if you will, from legal clever speak into like everyday layman speak so that we can all understand it. So with that, I'm going to jump into the blog post that I've written on the topic. If you don't want to watch the video, check out the blog post. If you're not a blog post reader, watch the video. So let's jump in. So this is my take on exactly what South Africans who trade online need to do to comply with POPI. So let's dive right in. Okay, first of all, what is POPI? Protection of Personal Information Act. It is a good thing. It's going to give us some way of regulating those people who are selling to us after hours, who are spamming us and so forth, people who collect our information and then don't use it in the way and in the spirit of how we gave that information, or people who buy databases. I never gave someone permission to sell my information, so it's going to help us shut down on those people. So it's a good thing. How does this affect you as an online seller? Well, you're an online seller, you need to collect information, personal information, in order to do your job, to be able to deliver something, to be able to receive payment, to be able to ship something. The moment you're collecting personal information, you are going to be affected by POPI, and POPI's got fines and prison terms and all kinds of scary things, which I think most of us don't have to worry about. We'll probably get a slap on the wrist if we are found guilty and given a time to make it right. But who knows? We don't know until the POPI Act comes into force and we see how the courts handle it. But it affects pretty much anyone who is trading. And if you're trading online, you're collecting information. Name and email address is personal information. So what is personal information? Well, I think you can use your common sense. It's the moment you have information that's no longer anonymous. Information that lets you identify someone, email, first name, surname, telephone number, banking details, credit card information, shipping details, t-shirt size, shoe size, favorite sunglasses. That's all considered personal information. So pretty much anything. But use your common sense. It's something that relates to a human being. Now, if it's truly anonymous, absolutely anonymous, it's aggregated through something like Google Analytics, that's not personal information. But the moment you can tie it to an individual, it's personal information. You need to do something about it. Now, something to note quickly, quick side note here. POPI applies equally to juristic people as to living, eating, dreaming human beings like you and I. What is a juristic person? Well, that's a business, a company, a PTY limited, a trust, partnership, those kind of legal entities that are considered people. So if you're doing business to business trading and you're collecting business information, that's personal information, that's POPI Act, you need to comply. So make sure that your understanding of that is proper. There's no getting out of this. All right, so are you not allowed to collect personal information anymore? Not at all. You're absolutely allowed to collect personal information because you need personal information in order to do your job. You need to know what t-shirt size someone is. You need to know what color they like. You need to have them be able to pay you. So that means maybe credit card details or banking details, something like that. You need to be able to ship it to them. So you need these details to perform your job, for your business to run. So you're absolutely allowed to collect them. But the trick is, you need to respect and protect that information. So thinking about that, moving into the next part of this is, what do you need to do to comply with POPI? We know what it is now, so what do you need to do? Number one, communicate. You need to be able to tell people before you collect information why you're collecting it, what you're going to do with it, who's looking after the information, how the information is going to be protected, how they can request for it to be deleted, how they can edit it, and so forth. Just be cool with people's personal information. So communicate upfront, and that's the key word. It's got to be upfront before you collect information. So how do you do that? Now, the way I've done it is I have gone and put together a pretty comprehensive privacy policy on my website. So I'm using my website privacy policy to do all the heavy lifting. So what does this look like in practical terms? Well, in practical terms, in fact, I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of my blog here, is I've got a sign-up form here. We'll get to this a little bit later, but right onto this, I've got a checkbox that says, I agree to the terms of your privacy policy, and I've got a link to my privacy policy. So before anyone can do anything with me, they've got to agree ahead of time to what I'm doing, and they can go check out what I'm doing with their information by clicking on the Privacy Policy Act. And all the good stuff is hiding in that privacy policy. So for me, that's the simple way for me to communicate and, stay on the right side of the law. If you want to get a personal privacy policy for your website, well, that's a tongue twister. Personal privacy policy. Jump onto this blog. I'll put the link in the description, and you can grab one for a couple of bucks. It'll be personalized just to you. You're still going to want to run it past your attorney, your lawyer, to make sure it suits your particular set of circumstances. But it's going to get you most of the way there. Probably save you a bunch of money with your attorney because most of the work is done. But you can go grab one by clicking on this. All right, so we've got to communicate. We've got to get them to agree to our terms beforehand. That's 1 and 2.3 of how to comply with the Privacy Policy Act is, point number 3 of how, this is when you go too fast. Point number 3 of how to comply with the POPI Act is you need to have offsite agreements with anyone who is going to come into contact with this information. So you may be using couriers. Those couriers are going to need personal information in order to deliver your t-shirt that you're selling. So you need an agreement with them that they're going to look after the information as well. That also protects you in case that courier goes and does a whole bunch of marketing with your information and you get complaints coming back to you. You'll need that agreement in place. So anyone who's coming into contact with information, that includes accounting packages perhaps like Xero, they've got our information, MailChimp, any kind of marketing information that's going onto a third-party server somewhere in America or Europe, that you're going to need. I don't know how we're going to do that, but the Act says we need to have agreements in place. By the same token, you need to have internal policies. You need to have training for your staff. Your staff who are coming into contact need to be aware of your privacy policy, what you've said, your plans, your behaviors, so they can comply as well. It's no good just having the manual, the privacy policy sitting on a shelf somewhere hiding on your website. You actually got to walk the walk, comply with that. So it seems obvious, but go through that training process. And then finally, you need to register an information officer. Now it'll default to the owner of the business if you don't register someone, but if you want to register someone in your company who's going to take responsibility for you complying with the POPI Act and making sure everything's in line, you can do so by hitting up a portal, and in this blog I've got a link to that portal. Load up your details and that'll be the registered person. It's a really good idea to do that. I think it's going to keep you in line. And I think I want to just wrap up this little chat by saying we are in South Africa, and I'm talking to you not as an attorney, not as a lawyer, because I'm not those things. I'm just an online seller like you guys. It's South Africa. You can drive without a driver's license in South Africa until something goes wrong, until you have an accident or whatnot. Then you're going to be found out, your insurance won't pay out, stuff gets real. And it's going to be the same with this POPI Act. Come the 1st of July, and there's not going to be someone jumping on your website essentially, immediately to bust you. But if you're not respectful of information and you're spamming or doing anything else and someone reports you, or you have you're hacked and your data is stolen, and then you have to come clean on that, and it's found out you aren't compliant, that's when there's going to be trouble. So, just like driving without a driver's license is really not a good idea. Go and get a driver's license. It's the same with POPI. Go and get compliant. Don't panic about it. Just go through the basic steps, and you'll be absolutely fine. Last question I had is someone was asking me, what about people who are already on your mailing list, people you've already been dealing with prior to this? And from what I can see, a little bit of digging yesterday, is we've got up until I think February next year, don't quote me on this, to get, let's call it historical interactions with people, to get our historical database in line, to get people to agree. So short answer is, from this point forward, everyone needs to be in line with POPI and agree to anything you're going to be doing with your information. And information you have already, we've got about 6 months to get those people to agree and get on the same page as the new your new traffic, your new leads, your new prospects and customers into your business. I hope that makes sense. I hope to make it short and sweet, and come and cruise through this blog if you want to have a slower version. But don't panic, enjoy it. Get compliant. This is a good thing. Hopefully now if someone phones me at 6 p.m. trying to sell me a new cell phone, I can do something about that. Until next time, see you later.